First of all, I got to give University of Iowa a lot of credit. Congratulations to Kirk Ferentz and the Hawkeyes. A tremendous game plan, doing a good job.
Sit down.
Whole team. I think we all knew that this would be this type of game. Looking at those two teams and what they do and the schematics that they have in this environment. We fell down early, and it took us a little bit out of our rhythm. We haven't been down early like that in a long time, and it took us out of our rhythm. Got to give them credit. We missed a field goal, weren't able to execute on some third downs early. We're able to, get 6 points at halftime, which was really good for us. Then we came out and scored on the first possession, which was really good for us. But again, it came down to the blocking, the tackling, and the execution of plays. And they did a better job with that than we did. And that was the name of the game, execution, and we didn't execute. I don't think we played particularly well on either side of the ball, offense, defense, or special teams. Credit goes to them as well. They have one of the best defenses in the country. But every time we looked to take 2 steps forward, took 1 step back, or 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But again, I told my players it was one game. We're 0-1 in the Iowa season. Everything's still sitting right in front of us. If we play a game that poorly, we can come back from it. And we touched the stove too many times, and we lived in that 22% world that we always talk about, and we got beat tonight. So congratulations goes out to Iowa. We'll open up for questions.
What were some of the issues defensively in the first half, and then the second half, looking to get some more pressure?
Yeah, I felt like, first of all, it was simplistic things, Andy. It was tackling, right? It was setting the edge and setting the edge properly with technique. It was, we were giving way too much ground, and then we felt like we were going to have to put some more pressure on him, be able to get the ball out of his hand a lot more, be able to create some negative plays, and we were able to do that. But I think, we adjusted a little bit, just a little bit too late. You let the game plan go, and when you're missing tackles, that's hard to just sit there and change. You miss a tackle and you're going man coverage, it's a touchdown. So we wanted to keep things in front of us. We just did. We tackled poorly.
Did you just in critical spots, a missed tackle or a drop pass or a missed extra point?
It just wasn't us, Chip. It just wasn't us today. It wasn't our night. It's hard to be able to say that because I hate that. I'm the man that always talk about fighting human nature. I thought we had a tremendous week of practice. To be undefeated is really difficult, especially when you're coming into Kinnick Stadium against Iowa, who would love to play spoiler to that. And, we're coming off a huge win, but that had nothing to do with it. We had a tremendous week of practice. I thought the guys were really focused. We just didn't play our style of football. And when you don't play your style of football, you got to start reaching for different things that are a little bit outside the comfort zone, and that's when things start happening. But whether it's blocking, tackling, execution, catches, I didn't think we run the ball particularly well. And it was just wasn't our night.
Did you think Tyler was hurt?
Absolutely. I told our team I'd take 100% full responsibility of this loss. I know there's a lot of plays, however many plays we played, but the head coach always looks at how you can help your team win and how you can help your team lose. But I said I'd do it all over again. I was told I ran on the field too fast. I get that, but I didn't know when there's a red light and a green light to tell us when we can go on the field. The whistle blew, the play's over. My players laying motionless on the ground. I've been on a staff to watch Eric LeGrand lay motionless and break his neck at Rutgers. We as coaches get criticized when we don't show enough compassion to somebody that's hurt in this game in 2019. The play was over, motionless player on the ground, and I run on the field to go make sure my player is okay, 1, and then 2, to make sure that he can't stay in the game. Okay, that he'd have to come out. The whistle would have to be blown. Okay, so there'd have to be a stoppage of play. All right, because the trainer's going to wait. They just kind of look from the sideline. Yep, he's okay. That's not good enough for me. And so I run on the field to make sure he's okay, and then I come off the field. The play was dead, but my player is on the field, motionless. And I said, I'll do it all over again. But I didn't know when there's a red light and a green light when a head coach has properly said, you can now, there's a gate that goes up that says now you can come on the field. Not when a player's laying motionless on the ground. And then they said I ran out there too fast. I'm 38 years old. I mean, I can run. And I'm going to make sure that I'm the first one they see, if I can be the first one they see when they open their eyes, or to make sure that play gets stopped so they can't go back on the field. Same thing with Tanner Morgan at the end of the game. We don't have any timeouts. He's woozy and wobbly. right? There's nobody that stops the game. And I can't run on the field and pull them off the field. So, again, I was told I ran on the field too fast. And I get it. And I cost our team the game. And I'll say that over and over and over, 100% accountability, 100% responsibility for it. But if it happened, I'd do it again. The play was over. This wasn't during a play. The play was over, whistle blown, flag thrown, and then I ran onto the field. So I don't, and I know I ran fast, but the kid's motionless on the ground. And in a world, like I said before, that we look at things as we don't do enough, and we're going to criticize that. The play was over. This wasn't during a play. This wasn't an official ran into me on the sideline during a play. So I don't understand that call in that situation, but that's how they felt, and we have to be able to accept that.
It seemed like Tanner really was trying to do everything he could in this game. What did you think of his performance?
He's so tough. He's so gutsy. We put ourselves in a really tough hole being down so early. But he's so gutsy. He's so tough. He's such a winner. And as I told them in there, and even when we pulled him off, you say, let's go back in, go back in. You're not going back in, man. I mean, I looked right at it, and there's no way I'm going to send that kid back on the field. So again, he's tough. He's so smart. He's such a winner. He rallies everybody. He gives everybody such belief. And as bad as we played, we still had an opportunity in the last 2 minutes to go win that football game against a really good football team. But it just wasn't good enough. We didn't start fast enough.
EJ, you said he was kind of woozy. Is he in concussion protocol, or what's his
Well, he better be. I mean, I'm not the doctor, I'm not the trainer, but I would assume so.
EJ, what went behind the decision at the end of the first half to take the points instead of going for it?
Well, I felt like at the time, if we didn't get the touch, there's 4 seconds left. Right? If we throw an incompletion, we get a sack, because things necessarily weren't going great for us. But if we could kick the field goal, now we can make it a 2-possession game. If we go for it and we don't get it, now we're down 17, 3-possession game. Going into halftime with the ball coming into the second half, I felt like my message could be way different if we just get the points. And we almost missed the points. Hit the upright, went in. So that's my thinking behind it, was the message at halftime being down 20-6 rather than 20-3, 3 possessions instead of 2, getting the ball back. And I felt like that was it was going to be a no-brainer. They were going to stack the box. We were going to have to be able to throw it, which was fine. But I felt like we just needed something going into the locker room.
EJ, what are the biggest things your team takes away from this experience, being in this environment, rivalry game, with everything that was at stake?
It was a huge game. A huge game. We played in huge games in the last 2 weeks. It's the Big Ten. Anything can happen any single week. It's hard to go undefeated in the Big Ten. I think is there only one left?
Yes.
In the Big Ten. There's one undefeated team in the Big Ten left. It's so difficult. The parity is getting so much closer. But this is why you play in the Big Ten. This is why you coach in the Big Ten for games like this. Not every game you're going to score 40 points and the other team's going to score 10, and vice versa. It's going to be very close. And everything that happens in a big-time game like this are just the smallest little things. What we learned was we can beat ourselves in big-time games, but also get beat at the same time. And we're 0-1 in the Iowa season. That's literally my message. It's one game that we lost by 4 points, right, to a very good Iowa team in a rivalry game. It does not take away from the 9 things they've accomplished before this, or the 45 other nevers or restored moments or 1904. It takes away none of that. All it does is make us not undefeated anymore, which, yes, is disappointing. Everybody wants to be undefeated, right? My son's baseball team wants to be undefeated. Our girls' gymnastics want to be undefeated. They don't even compete, they want to be undefeated. Everybody wants to be undefeated. But it's 0-1 in the Iowa season. We are going to do everything we did leading up to this game when we won. Right? So it's going to hurt tonight. We're going to wake up in the morning. Right? And we are going to be able to change our best, get in that team room, watch the things we have to get better at, talk about the things we do well, talk about the things we didn't do well, put our leather vests on, go back in the meeting rooms, and critique and get better. One thing I love about this team is they respond perfectly. They respond like champions. And now we have to find a way to be 1-0 in the Northwestern season. And that is the most important thing now. Learn from this, put our oar back in the water, and row. But you got to give Iowa a lot of credit. Really good football team. Played well tonight.
PJ,
Only one time up, you thought you needed to roll nicer with the
We had to, you know, I almost thought about it anyway. We're on the headset, even with 2 timeouts. That's what I was thinking. But then when we had to burn the timeout, because we were so close, if I take the delay of game, now we're back to the 6. I just felt like that wasn't, we needed to get a touchdown, right? And we had the opportunity, we had to get the touchdown no matter what. You know, we have our play call gets switched at the last minute, different look they have, we call timeout, now I'm down to 1, but if we get the onside kick, we're okay. I knew we can get the ball back. We just had to get the ball back. If we stop and go 3 and out, no matter where they are, we're going to get the ball back. We saw what we did at Georgia Southern, and then, you know, the first play is a sack, and then we're behind the sticks, and next thing you know, you're hard to recover from, especially when your quarterback gets pulled from the game.
We got 1 or 2 more for Coach?
PJ, I know this is still fresh, but is there some? Does it mean anything that you still control your own destiny?
100%. That was my message in there. I mean, I don't. This is, first of all, I just want to make sure, because I want to know the people of the state of Minnesota. This is not the end of the world. It's a tough loss. It hurts. It should hurt. It's a rivalry game. This is what college football is all about. Football matters in the state of Minnesota. It matters nationally. It's a good thing. But everybody knows that. It's not like Iowa didn't know that. They knew that. The fans out there knew that. This is one game. That's all that means. Everything we want and everything we wrote down is right in front of us. Nothing's changed. If we would have won that game, Wisconsin won today. You still got to go find a way to beat Wisconsin, right? At the end of there. And then if you go to the Big Ten championship, you got to find a way to beat the East opponent. You had to do that anyway. So again, it matters because it's a game, and every game matters. But everything is still right there in front of us. How many times after week 10, when we're 9-1 at the University of Minnesota, is everything right in front of us and we control our own destiny? How many times has that happened? So that's my message to our team. I told them I love them. I'm proud of them. They're very mature. We know we didn't play well. I didn't coach well. Our coaches didn't coach well. It's a team loss. But I take the most amount of responsibility for this loss. Me, personally. Me, Coach Fleck, period. I take the majority, if not all, the blame. Because I did not have our players playing their best. And as a coach, I take that personal.
We got 1 more?
What happened on the missed field goal, the 50-yard field goal? I mean, you took the timeout, then make the decision to kick a 50-yard field goal.
Yeah, a lot of things are going through your mind at that particular time, right? One was to be able to go for it, right? Because we've gone through some coaching or some kicking changes, some movement, some injuries. And then it was to punt it. And then I was like, listen, he's got the wind at his back. This is his range. Let's give him a shot. I believe in my players. And if we can find a way to get some points right there, I was going to give us, it wasn't like a 60-yard field goal. It was 50, right at the end of his range. And plus the wind at the back, I thought could help that. I believe in my players. And again, the only way you're going to continue to gain knowledge is if you give your players an opportunity to prove themselves. Right? And Brock Walker has, he hasn't played a lot. Right? Show me what you can do. And if he gets put in that position again, now he has something to draw from. And he'll change his best and find a way to be better.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Appreciate it. Road Goats game. I'll go Gophers. Thanks, everybody.
Players talk on the road?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think all the quarterbacks probably.
Thomas Barber in here tomorrow?
Oh, great.
Oh, good.
No, you're okay.
Sorry, I
You're
was
okay.
sparing me.
Quarterback and a couple of others in there.
I just wanted to make sure,
Oh, yeah.
because I'm about to yell at you in a bit.
As Thomas takes the seat, we'll go ahead and jump into questions.
Thomas, how do you sum up the reaction to that?
Just didn't come out ready to play from the get, and Big Ten, it's hard to come back like that in the second half. Defensively, you just started out too slow, and you can't do that in Big Ten. We got them. All credit out to them, though. They came out on fire. Offense is moving the ball. Their offense is moving the ball. And, yeah, they played a really good game.
What did you take from PJ's message?
Copy that.
Big picture of what you saw about that.
Copy, thanks.
Obviously, we went 1-1 in the championship, and now we got 2 championships left in the regular season, and we got to focus on those. And after we watch them tomorrow, we'll be focused on the Northwestern championship.
Thomas, what changed in the second half? It seemed like you guys are bringing a lot more pressure in the second half and slowing it down a little bit in that second half.
Yeah, I mean, got down fast, so we kind of so we got to just bring the pressure, pour it on them, slow them down eventually. But like I said, we can't wait till the second half. Defensively, as players, not coaches, as players, to have that fire we got to start from the first half.
What do you attribute the kind of slow start to?
Just not us just being prepared mentally. I feel like we just weren't mentally prepared. They just came and hit us in the mouth. Usually everyone's hitting in the mouth first, and you got hit in the mouth first today.
How uncharacteristic were the missed tackles in the first half?
So,
How uncharacteristic were the missed tackles in the first half?
yeah, we definitely took a step back in the first half with a lot of missed tackles, myself included. And we can't have that because they led the big plays, and that's how you see how they scored the points in the first half. First between 5+ scoring drives.
Did it seem kind of similar to, I know the Purdue game, you guys also struggled with some tackles, did it feel like kind of the same issue?
Yeah, we were always in the right spot, and it was just wrapping up, using our system, we weren't using our system.
The mental preparation, how much is not being in an environment like this before, did that affect maybe just getting hard to figure it out before you are actually in the stadium like this?
Yeah, I mean, we know coming in the type of environment it is, but we try to block that out. But their fans are there, but like I said, you try to block them out, and it's just something that we have to be able to mentally still feel like it's our stadium, that they're just cheering. They're not cheering for us, but they're just cheering. There's just no one cheers.
What was the mood like in the locker room after this?
I was disappointed in our performance. But we know we have a lot more at stake still. So we still control our destiny, but like I said, we're focused on Northwestern once tomorrow our noon hits.
Is it a sign of the program's progress that the Iowa fans stormed the field after the game at the Gophers?
But I want to call it progress. Just something that we have to be able to take. As you see people starting, Minnesota's being a national name now. And everyone's coming at us now, so we just got to take that to the chin and just worry about next week.
How do you, I know that PJ's really, you guys focus on the 1 game a week thing, and that helps you from looking too far into the future, right? Can it also help you in losses, because you don't maybe spiral out of control after,
Most definitely. I feel like the 1 game championship is very key, especially after a loss. Because he said this season could go 2 ways. I mean, we could end up losing the next 2, or having this be a wake-up call for us and not having it later in the season. So definitely it still helps us from, getting on a downward spiral.
What do you mean you have to call back?
Oh, it meant a lot. I mean, like I said, always before he's out there, he's helping me make checks, he's out there being Kamal. So it's always great to have him back out there.
Anything for Thomas? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, safe travels.
Well, Tyler Johnson and Ronnie Smith in here momentarily.
Big Will, you taking notes?
Wish I could figure out the temperature thing. Like when your phone gets too cold, it just turns off.
Does it, man?
Yeah.
Your phone got too cold?
Oh yeah, it turns out, you see what happened to it? It just turns off and restarts. There's some kind of temperature,
What's that in like a sauna? I'll try to turn off and like the heat. Oh, yeah. I don't know how short he was. Like the last one.
I should have separated this after 3 minutes. That usually was small.
Yeah, 4 hours stay in it and,
Oh, you flex, dude.
4.5 sit in the fry.
I respect that.
That weird.
Yeah, right.
Perhaps the change.
She's in Vikings
I
tomorrow?
respect that.
I was supposed to, but she didn't.
That was-
so it just happened.
That was second base.
What's that?
Crazy if I had to be there early to help KUSA.
Oh, dude, I can't forget that.
We're gonna need a truck, and I'll take that. I said, I was just about to ask him. Have you ever been there since the Final Four screwed up?
Right.
You haven't been down
Yeah,
there?
you and,
That was like
all of you guys, it was in that same.
Not even there. I was like,
Right.
Drop that.
Mikey's not in charge for it. And we had the meetings when we built the house.
First of all,
I told him, I said, you need to put Ethernet in your chart.
I can't remember, I was just like,
I don't think, they didn't put a wall in. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
I was still one jump hour.
7
I
o'clock.
think you did something like that, dude.
That was weird.
Like,
7 on.
No, they're live, they're trying to come down. They used to do a show.
So Wisconsin won the bid,
yeah, they were.
And their show on Sunday nights, they would have 3 editors, 4 or 5 towers at every game. And I'm telling you, these guys could shoot football. I mean, it is absolutely dominant. Running back receiver running at you, and all you have is the eyes to focus the ball. I mean, these guys were NFL. Well, this is the only thing you see kind of after. Right. And that turned to be backbreakers.
That'd be sweet.
it was just too much. How quickly I generalized what I have.
I mean, he was walking.
Are you on live?
Come on, Billy, stand up.
No.
I can
I'm gonna feed it.
I'm
I
chilling.
can get connected.
You
He
didn't
got,
see the pregame
he's
show.
got a perfect signal.
What's Fox 9, bro?
What cars they have? You guys are kind of the same.
Tyler Johnson.
We have
coming
better
up,
ratings,
Kansas City.
so-
We'll go ahead and jump into questions.
Tyler, how do you sum up this loss?
Iowa did a great job of coming out and starting fast overall, offense and defense. But as a team, we know we're gonna come back in.
Tyler, what happened on the fourth down play where you got hit and then PJ ran on the field? What did you see from your perspective on that situation?
Coach Fleck was just being a great coach right there. You know, he cares a lot about all of us players. And when something like that happens, you know, he's usually the first one to come and check up on somebody. So, Coach Fleck was just doing his job.
Do you feel like you should have held on to that ball?
Definitely. I feel like, you know, that was nobody but me. Tanner did a great job. O-line did a great job protecting. I was able to create separation. I just got to finish off right there.
Overall, you guys had a pretty big day throwing the football, though. What did you see out there on the field that allowed you guys to get so much through the air on the afternoon?
Coach Rocker did a great job with the game plan, being able to put all of us receivers in the right spots. And then Tanner did a great job just stepping up in the pocket, feeling comfortable, and putting us in the right position to go catch the ball.
Tyler, there's never a good time to get the first loss this season, but this one doesn't essentially do a whole lot of damage to what you guys have done so far. It's kind of your mindset moving forward.
Honestly, coach just brought it up in the locker room. You know, we went 0-1 in the Iowa week. We're gonna come back in tomorrow and get back to work. You know, and look forward to going 1-0 in the professional league.
Ty, how did you and the rest of the seniors maybe keep the younger kids from spiraling, right? Because you can have a big loss like this, and you can have the same amount of path, right? How do you kind of keep that?
We plan on coming in tomorrow, dissecting the film, seeing what we can get better at, what
kind of going through your head when, after everything that transpired, you got the ball back with a minute 50 left and a chance to win the game?
Technique time. As an offense, we came together. We knew that, we have under 2 minutes to go down and score, and then just go out there and play.
I thought a lot of issues in the red zone today. Anything that was a theme that you noticed that just didn't allow you guys to execute the way you wanted to in the red zone?
Their defense was amazing down there. They did a great job of being able to get pressure on our quarterback. Their secondary did a great job of covering as well. So their defense is definitely absolutely amazing down there.
So much of the context with this is being undefeated, but how much can you isolate and just talk about not having the pig head?
Well, our mindset was just coming 1-0 a week, whether I was bringing the thing back or not, which was part of it, I should say. So just being able to stay tunnel vision and live in the moment.
You get a chance at the end to talk to Tanner at all, or to check on him, and how unusual the situation was that there at the end of the game with having to bring a cold quarterback in to throw 2 passes at the game's end.
I haven't talked to Tanner yet. I remember going off the field, just telling him like, good job, that was all. But the young guy, he stepped up. He knew what he had to do whenever his number was called. He just went out there and just played.
So how do you guys improve from, when you have uncharacteristic mistakes like drops, like how I guess you kind of make sure those don't happen again?
Next play mentality. Coach Tom does a great job of just saying next play all the time. As wide receivers, some of the things that are very important to us is, things are going to happen in the game. Not everything's going to go right, but just knowing that there's a lot of football left around the play.
Is there a different experience when you're the team that maybe the other team is targeting, you're the undefeated team, the top 10 team, instead of the other way around? Do you feel that? Does it feel like that at all?
It didn't feel like it to me. It just felt like we were just both 2 teams going out there just to play. We both had each other on the schedule, so just going out there and being able to compete with each other.
We got one more for Ty, or is everyone good? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll have Robbie Smith in here in a moment.
How you doing?
The Bucks go 1-1.
Once Rodney takes a seat, we'll go ahead and jump into questions.
Rodney, what did you feel about how you guys started the game offensively?
We had a lot of mistakes, penalties, drop drives, miscommunication, and just lack of execution.
Did the ability to finish drives, does that feel like that was the difference in the game? They kind of finished when they had the chance. You guys stalled a couple of times.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, we would get in good position and have a penalty or lack of communication, lack of execution, turn it to a sack, take us out of field goal range. Happened a couple times.
Do you know why that was the case? The lack of communication or misunderstandings?
No, 100% sure. We need to figure it out.
When you guys scored on the opening drive of the second half, did it feel like momentum was on your side? Did you guys think to yourself, your game was kind of starting to come around?
Yeah, we definitely got into a groove. Like I said, we finished that drive, and like I said, the drive after, I'm not sure what happened, but I'm pretty sure it stalled. I'm not sure. Penalties, lack of execution, and communication. You can't do that. Championship game.
How do you work to try to turn the page?
Have to do better tomorrow. Not on one in the Iowa season. It's over right now. The team just gotta turn this page. We still can do what we set out to accomplish. Like I said, get back to it tomorrow.
Ronnie, what's the swing of emotion like? Just like a week ago, you were watching your own fans from the field, and then this week, just watching other fans.
It's tough. Like I said, our goal was to go 1-0 in the Iowa season, and we did it. They played heck of a game, so that's a tremendous team over there, and we knew we'd get their best shot. And like I said, we just had to execute, and we did it tonight.
When you attribute the lack of a consistent running game to?
Same thing, lack of execution. And from a running back standpoint, I'll speak for myself. I have to break more tackles and break too many tackles today.
You know, like Ronnie, you've been playing for a really long time. I'm just curious, with when you lose a game at like 9-0, does it feel different than losing a game at the beginning of the season, or any different kind of goes through the season?
I wouldn't say so. Nobody sets out to lose. I don't know. I wouldn't say so. But like I said, we can't dwell on it. We have to get back in the facility tomorrow and find out where we can get better. Because we're going on the road next week as well. So fix those communication problems and execute better as a team.
Was the communication problems from too loud the crowd noise, or?
I'm not sure. The offensive line communicates with each other. I kind of communicate with Tanner. So I'm not sure the other guys were getting the calls. So yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, one more?
Did you get a chance to talk to Tanner at the end of the game at all, or check on him and how unusual the situation was at the end of the game there to have to bring a cold quarterback in for the final two throws?
It's definitely unfortunate. We prepare for those moments. So yeah, I talked to him. Like I said, it's an unfortunate situation, but Cole was prepared for that.